Morning. It's 5 minutes after 9. Hawkfanatic is brought to you by Deary Brothers Ford on Mormon Trek in Iowa City. Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike's E-Keys for Cars. Supple's Building and Remodeling. 1-800-800-ROSE. The Midtown Family Restaurants. Harty and Stocker Jewelers in downtown Iowa City. Premier Automotive. Hit a deer. Call Premier. The Ox Yoke Inn in the Amanas. Streets Maintenance. And Dr. Lance Forbes and his great crew at Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. I'll be going up there next month for a 6-month checkup. Tom Suter, Pat Harty here for Hawkfanatic. How's it going, Tom?
Pretty good. So
you're in shirt sleeves. I just you're like it's going to be above freezing.
It's above zero. It feels great. It's nice and warm in here.
It is nice and toasty in here. Yes.
And I have my big coat.
Yeah, you do. I just couldn't believe it yesterday. Tom Heath walked in here after he got his car finally dug out. Walked in shirt sleeves, no coat or nothing. It was still pretty cold.
It was.
Yeah, he goes, it's warm in the car. Okay, whatever.
Well, I understand that. Walking from a warm car to a warm building, there's 15 seconds where you might get cold, and that's not that big of a deal.
That's true.
That's just me.
So, let's get into the Hawkfanatic, shall we? Pat Harty is here. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
Good game last night. Were you were there, right?
Oh yeah,
I was not.
Yeah,
Susan. Tom. Yeah, Susan was there for Hawkfanatic.
It was a blowout. As anticipated.
Wisconsin's not very good.
No, they got a great center, and that's kind of it.
And a team like that's just not going to stand a chance against Iowa. Iowa didn't play very well in the first quarter.
No, they didn't. I think it was only we had like a 4-point lead or something.
But they still won by 46. So
And
Adam's going to call in at 9:15. Adam Halowski, roughly around there, and so we'll talk men's and women's hoops with him, and of course the football announcements yesterday. I mean, the Phil Parker one. You got to do that. I mean, it's a significant raise, but
absolutely.
I interpret that maybe as being some other schools where maybe, hey, Phil, you want to?
We'll pony up.
You interested in coming? You want to come down and be our coordinator for $2 million or something? I mean, who knows? I mean, a lot of schools are going through coaching change. Who knows? Maybe Kalen DeBoer reached out to him after he got the Alabama job. Said, "You want to be my coordinator?" You just don't know.
You don't.
He deserved a raise regardless. The amount of raise, though, makes me wonder if they were
those defensive.
If Kirk just saying, "Hey, no, we'll spend money to keep these guys." Seth Wallace too. I've heard he could have left last year for places. It is going to be an odd setup, though, to have the assistant head coach not be a coordinator and be probably the fourth highest paid member of the staff. That's unusual. And you don't have a lot of places where. Do you recall Iowa ever having an assistant head coach in football?
No, I don't.
And it's just odd. And odd doesn't mean I'm criticizing it. It's just an odd setup, sort of. But maybe this was their way of keeping Seth too. Maybe some other schools wanted Seth to go and be their coordinator, and they were going to pay him $1 million a year. And Kirk's like, I don't want to lose you. You do a lot of good for us. And maybe Phil Parker didn't want to be the assistant head coach. Who knows? There's so many ifs, ands, but it's out there, and of course people use this as more reason to criticize the coordinator search since they got this done before the coordinator. But like I said, I don't interpret that as good or bad. How long this is just it. It's Kirk. This is the way Kirk usually operates. A lot of people are wondering if he's pissed and he's just taking as long as he can. He's going to sabotage the same program he's going to keep coaching for? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
And I did see Football Scoop they're saying that Christ is no longer. I mean, Chris, like I said, he's been in and out. According to the rumor mill, he's been in and out of this every other week. It seems like he is a candidate. Now he's not. He is. He's not. I mean, there's so much information that's being out there.
And so much misinformation.
There's a lot of stuff out there being said, but there's really nothing of substance.
No.
There hasn't been. But the release did say, the last sentence was that an OC announcement will be made sure. Don't you think it'll be this week? We're running out of days. If
I had to guess, I would say that maybe Kirk had planned to have it when he made the other staff announcements. Maybe possibly. He thought that Paul was going to take the job, and then went the other way.
Maybe. I doubt that.
That's
but
speculation, of course.
I don't think that, because then he could easily have hold off. Okay, well, we'll just wait a few more days before we announce these things and coordinate it with the high. I think he may want to do them separate to give the coordinator center stage, what have you. But like I said, I mean, the name that's being mentioned now is the coordinator from UNLV. A lot, and I thought about that. I mean, according to the process,
What's his name, Marion?
Marion, you have to interview at least one minority coach. Maybe he's the coach Kirk interviewed. Who knows? And somehow that got out there. I haven't seen anything substantiated, though, and it's all speculation. Because, I mean, according to the process, you got to interview at least 4 coaches, 1 minority, don't you?
Yes.
So I'm guessing Philbin and Chris were probably 2 that at least had informal discussions about this job. And now the Chris thing, I didn't read the Football Scoop story. I saw it. Did you read it?
Yeah.
Because the BadgerNotes.com thing happened. They've been saying he's been out for 2 weeks.
I mean, there's speculation about why Chris didn't take it.
I've seen different rumors. What's some of the ones you've seen?
Well, the one that seemed really plausible to me, or one of them, is his wife said, look, don't want to move up to Iowa for a year or 2 and then move on again. Don't want to do it.
Assuming he would move on, where's he going to go?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think Paul Chryst is in huge high demand, or he wouldn't be an advisor at Texas.
I think
his reputation took some shot. It took a beating by failing to win at Wisconsin. And I'm not saying he couldn't get jobs, don't get me wrong. That might be part of it. I don't know. I've just wondered, though, if let's say Kirk ultimately chooses Philbin over Chris. The one thing I could see that separated him is that Philbin, I think, would be here for the duration of Kirk's time left here. Because Philbin's 62 years old. I mean, I could see him another 2 to 4 years here. They go out together.
Yeah.
That could be something but like I said, I'm just speculating. I don't know.
The other thing is I think Paul Chryst wants to be a head coach.
Yeah, I think he does, but I mean,
he tried to get.
You think a high up Power 5 program is going to hire Paul Chryst right now?
No,
I don't either. So Paul may have to take a step. And
but he evidently turned down Northwestern.
According to who? According to
lots of people.
But lots of people is. You're talking message boards and Twitter. You're not talking legitimate news sources. I haven't.
No legitimate. news sources.
Not to dismiss all those people, but there's a huge difference between reality reporting and just stuff that's on message boards and
Twitter,
social media,
Facebook,
and whatever.
True.
And I'm not sure if Chris, he's going to have to maybe do something again. But I'm also wondering if Chris and his wife and their family sat there and said, this is too big of a risk to try to repair this offense at this stage.
Well, that's out there too.
And you could end up going down with the ship.
And yeah, you could.
You combine with him failing at Wisconsin at the end, and then coming here, and let's say he has 2 just dud years at Iowa, that he'd be pretty much done.
Yeah.
So there is a risk for someone like him. Whereas Philbin, Philbin to me, if it doesn't work out for him for 2, he just retires.
Yeah.
And
and Paul's got enough money to do just that.
Well, I'm sure they both do.
But he's pretty young.
They both do. Philbin's been in the NFL for 20 years. Yeah. Imagine how he was a head coach for 2 teams. Philbin's probably they're both multi-millionaires.
Yeah,
I don't think at this stage they're motivated by money. I think they're motivated more by opportunity and what it could lead to just as far as their legacy. They're both, I would think, financially. Chris was the head coach there for years.
Yeah.
He was the head coach at Pittsburgh. He's been making millions for over a decade. He should have plenty of money.
And he's got an $11 million buyout from Wisconsin.
He should have plenty of money. So, but still, you want to market yourself. It's not like he's going to say, well, yeah, I'm set for life, Kirk. I'll be your coordinator for $500,000. No, you get what you can.
Yeah.
It's business, and I get that. So, but yeah, I keep thinking maybe it'll come out this week. But like I said, today's Wednesday. But, that's 3 days. It's going to be just it's going to be just like those announcements yesterday. Boom, it's out there. I didn't see anything about these changes coming on staff. Did you see anything on messages?
There was speculation that Copeland wasn't going to be back.
Oh, that one I've seen, but I'm talking about the Parker. The Parker raise. I just think everybody is. I figured he would get at least a 300. What was he? He got almost 600,000, didn't he? Wasn't he making 1.3?
500,000 or 1.4?
He was making around 1.3 or 1.4.
So
now
he's 1.9.
He's got almost a $500,000 raise, but it's deserved. But I also think partly this is to fend off other other schools.
And that's that is the financial climate that we're in right now in college football, and it's white hot money.
My guess is the new coordinator will make. I'm going to guess around 1.5. Not going to make as much as Phil, I wouldn't think.
I think you're right.
I wouldn't think he would make as much as Phil.
We have
Adam.
I believe so. Hello, Adam.
Hey, good morning, guys.
How you doing, Adam?
Good morning. Staying warm?
Oh, boy, I'm ready for spring.
Me too.
Yeah, it's mid-January. Hey, it is going to be in the 30s next week. You know what that's going to feel like?
Yeah.
Like I said to you, though.
Heat wave.
Well, I said to Tom, coming in today, 4 feels a lot. It was minus 13 when I came in here on Monday. Today it's 4.
Oh, you can feel the difference.
You really can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still 4 degrees, but all right. Well, Adam, let's just dive right into it. We haven't had Adam for a while. I guess let's start with the women's game last night. I mean, it's funny. They overcame a sluggish start, a poor first quarter, and won by 46. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Wisconsin's number.
Yes.
I mean, how many does that make that? Is it
29.
29
straight.
Geez, I'm way off.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I don't care any team, but, yeah, we certainly have their number, and they're playing well right now. I mean, I kind of chuckle. It seems like we still, for whatever reason, there's pundits and coaches and, people out there that kind of try to take us down a little bit or put us below a notch. We've won some nice games here and really played some pretty good teams. So I'm excited to see where we're at this part of the year. And again, the one lone team that beat us, we ended up beating them a couple weeks later. So the girls are playing really well right now.
Well, and Kansas State's a top 10 team.
They've only lost 1 game, haven't they? Yeah, no, they're having that is not a bad loss at all. It's interesting though. There's not a lot of Big Ten teams ranked, are there?
No. Ohio State, Iowa.
So that kind of hurts Iowa in the fact.
Indiana.
I still think they're beating good teams, but none like Michigan State's not ranked. Is Michigan ranked right now?
Michigan's not ranked. Michigan State got some votes,
but it's not ranked though.
But it's not ranked.
See, and I
think there's a lot of parity.
I do.
Kind of we're seeing it in the men's group, in the men's divisions too, right? With some of the teams jockeying for, right? Clearly, I think Purdue is probably one of the best teams, but they've been knocked off a couple times, and there's just a lot of parity out there right now on any given night. Just like in the girls, I think anybody can beat anybody.
Well, you saw it last night. Penn State beating Wisconsin.
PennState's decent.
They are.
Penn State. They're 9-9 now. They're 3-4 in conference play. They're not a bad team. I mean, they were saying they built that roster in like 55 days after he took over. Have you seen them play at all, Adam?
Yeah, a little bit. I agree. I mean, it's a turnaround, and those guys. Just to kind of get back to 500, you just never know. And this is a whole second half of the year once school kind of gets back up and going and you get the Big Ten play really, we're in the heart of it. A lot can shake loose here, especially for a team like Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, they've got veteran players from other schools. That coach did a good job at VCU, and they're decent. And they, to me, seem typical of they're kind of like Iowa in a lot of ways. I think Iowa's pretty good. Owen Freeman, I'm not comparing him to Luka Garza, but he's having a Luka Garza freshman-like season. I mean, maybe even a little better. And he can do some things that even Luka couldn't do. He's not the shooter Luka is, but just your thoughts on Owen Freeman? I mean, he is the real deal.
Yeah, he's big time. And I think a lot of it starts with just how Harty plays.
Yeah, just like Luka.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see a freshman come in and just bang and hustle and scrap and he's doing all the little things, and then that ends up, just like the other night, he only played 17 minutes, but he had 12 points, and he had 8 rebounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a great rebounder, and it's really nice to see because that's, of course, an area where Iowa hasn't been very good.
He's a great offensive rebounder.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's got a knack for getting those balls on the offensive end.
Well, and I think we talked about this before, and just sentiment around town, and people just, hey, the women are getting a lot of attention. The men are kind of a sleeper. They're super young.
I agree.
And I think if you look at the future of Iowa basketball, I mean, we've got a lot of really good talent in there, and obviously we're going to lose a couple guys that are seniors, but the future's bright. I mean, we've got a really strong foundation, especially in a world where everybody's relying on this transfer portal that doesn't always work out. Fran's always been a 4-year, get these guys in, build them up. So I like what we've got. I really do, and I think guys like Owen Freeman and Harding and Dembele. I mean, the future is definitely bright.
Well, and I'm not saying they will, but Perkins and Patrick both have another year if they wanted to come back.
True.
So, like I said, neither one has said what they plan. But I agree with you, and I think the Big Ten. I'm not knocking it. I think it's solid. I don't think there's a lot of great teams in the Big Ten this year. There may not be a great team. I'm not convinced Purdue's a great team. This game is huge, and you see some of the Iowa players asking on Twitter, they need fans there. What's it, 1 o'clock Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. That's a perfect time for a game. Hopefully that arena is rocking. I mean, Adam, they were 0-3. We in the media and a lot of people, this team's done. It's toast. Fran, I mean, he's just like Kirk. It's in the moment. The only thing you can do is deal with the next challenge up. That's how you deal with this stuff, right? When you're in a big grind like this, you can't get too up or down. And now here they are 3 games later. They're 3-3.
Yeah, we've always talked about that hole. We kind of every year it seems like we dig ourselves before Christmas break in the Big Ten, but you can't ask for a better start. I mean, 3 wins in a row in the conference. You've got a number 2 team in the country coming in Saturday. That again, they are beatable. I don't think we match up very well with them, but you look at the last couple of games that they've gotten beat. Teams have shot it well on them.
Yes,
if we can hold them to 43, 44%, kind of like what Northwestern Purdue did from the field, and we can knock down some threes. I mean, both those games they got beat. Those teams shot it well from the perimeter, and I'm guessing the size and Edie down low you're not going to get a lot of paint points, but if you can shoot it well and we get the guys that can do it, anything can happen, and that could be a huge win for this team.
I think three-point shooting, I mean, you can say this about any game, but especially in this game, because they're really hard to beat when Braden Smith and the Lawyer kid and Lance Jones, when they're making threes, they're really hard to beat, of course, with all the other stuff. But so's Iowa when Iowa's making threes. Yep. So I think three-point shooting is going to be big. Turnovers, I think, are going to be big. And I think Iowa needs to get off to a good start. Don't you guys, too, to get whatever? Do you think there's going to be 10 to 12 there Saturday? I do.
I do, too.
I do, too. Yeah, I think part of obviously those that are around the area, this weather's been not friendly.
No.
And just the times and when it's hit. Although the women,
well, that's it.
For what they had coming out on Saturday. Now, granted, it was a weekend. It was Saturday, but that was impressive. The crowd.
The women is a freak show, though. And I mean that complimentary. The women's a freak show.
That's
just something we'll never see again.
And last night, it was below zero, and it was nasty. And that place was almost full.
It's like the Beatles are playing every 18 times at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That's kind of what it seems like. I mean,
it is.
I mean, and it's all because of the team, of course. But we all know it's the Caitlin Clark effect. Yeah. And I'm going back to her. There was one I wanted to ask you. I'm not sure. Have you seen some of the social media comments by like Don Staley and what's her name? What's the Kim Mulkey. Just your thought. I mean, I said on Monday, I just think they're better than that. They've got so much to focus on with their own accomplishments. Why lower yours? It just seems petty and just jealous.
Yeah, I think part of it might be a little bit of just, again, pettiness and jealousy. She's doing so much to revolutionize this game in a good way.
Yes.
Right? The amount of young girls and people, I think I talked about it too. I was at an AAU event this summer for a couple of my kids, and there's teams from all over, and they were asking what team, this was, in Iowa. Oh, do you know Caitlin Clark? Or all the kids were like, this team's from Iowa, like around the Iowa City area. It's amazing to see just what she's done for the game and the attention that she's brought to women's, sports, and particular women's basketball. So I don't know how anybody can be upset about it. Now, are we getting a lot of media attention and everything? Absolutely, but
they're 18-1. I know
it's. I mean, and look what they did last year. I mean, they knocked off a really good South Carolina team, almost ended up winning the entire thing. And again, I always go back to it's with homegrown talent, and a lot of these girls are Midwest people that have grown up and been at Iowa for all 4 years. We don't have a lot of transfers on the team, like some of these teams, how they're built.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know why she gets criticized like she does. And again, in Iowa, we don't have a lot of other professional sports teams that we're competing against. So she's very marketable and speaks very well of herself, the team, the university. So I think everybody's kind of seeing it. It's kind of sour grapes at this point. Yeah. They need to concentrate on their team and whatever ends up happening postseason. But she's been special for us, and I think she's the hot ticket.
And she wins.
Not to watch a game that she's playing in.
And she wins. I mean, these numbers are great, But if these numbers were accumulated over let's say they maybe made the tournament 2 out of the 3 years she's been here, early exits, hovering around 500 and count, she wouldn't be near the star she is. The numbers couldn't do that, I don't think. But winning and the numbers.
And how we've been winning.
Yes, I mean,
she's built a legacy.
I mean, you have to win to be a superstar. Don't you agree, Adam?
Yeah, how to win and the big shots that she's taken.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yes.
I think the other thing, too, is as a team, these kids look like they have fun. I shouldn't say kids. They're, women. But they the game that they play and the energy, and, you see it in Carver or even on the road, they truly love playing with each other.
They do. And for Lisa.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's, again, it's contagious watching them. You get excited and you want to watch and be a part of that. So that's the secret sauce. I mean, in some of these other teams and programs, that's how you build it. And Lisa and Jan and the entire staff they've done it right, and we're kind of reaping the benefit of being able to watch this and experience this, because it is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime team that we've got here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great last night. A.J. Ediger got her first real minutes this year, and there was one move where she had a drop step and then spun and laid it in.
Is she a center or forward?
She's, kind of FC. She's 6'2", I think. Okay. But it was just a beautiful move, and you could see Jan Jensen was just delighted.
Well, it'd be great if she could emerge. They need help at the center position.
They do. Especially with Hannah being hurt.
Yeah, what's Hannah's status?
I think basically it was more precautionary from what I've seen than anything else.
You think the opponent had something to do with it? No knock on Wisconsin.
I hate to say that, but
it's
sure,
big time sports. They can take it. So
of course.
But no, you're right though, Adam. And I think when you look at all the superstars like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tom, what set them apart was winning. And Caitlin has done so much winning since she's been here. That's why that loss in the second round to Creighton was so devastating. But didn't Iowa get to the Sweet 16 her freshman year?
They did.
Yeah.
So beat Kentucky.
Yeah, and so they've done a Sweet 16 and a Final Four in 2 over 3 years. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Adam, I've asked you I don't know if I've asked you this before, but I've mentioned this. I think when you look at Caitlin's game, all the attributes she has, how important do you think the fact she's 6 foot with long arms? How do you think that helps her?
I think it's a huge benefit, but I think her IQ too is just.
Oh no, I get you. Her vision, yeah. But if she was 5'8", if she was 5'8" or 5'9", would she be the same player?
I think it's definitely tougher, to get some of those shots off, and you can see as she comes in and rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
She's sneaky, quick, and athletic. I mean, that's the other thing too. You look at some of these really good guards that's defending her. Her ball handling is so good and so tight. It's hard for them to really. I mean, even if they want to get up and on her, she can go around them. And a lot of times, look how many right-handed layups she gets, where she just kind of sneaks through the defense.
She does.
Flips them up. She's just got such a good game about her. I think these teams are trying to figure out, all right, do you face guard her? What do you do? Now you got Gabby that's knocking down shots, and Molly had a huge game, and Hannah's just, she's been running the floor well and finishing. I mean, we've got a really good team that you can't just concentrate on one player. Kate Martin's had a great year. So she gets a lot of the attention, but a lot of these other girls have really stepped up too. So, and I think we're going to need them when you get the postseason play.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gabby and, Kate, everybody's got to come in ready. We're going to have some guys really, some gals step up and make some shots.
How big?
Yeah, because Caitlin can't do it herself, no matter how good she is.
No. How big do you think it is, too, that she's a right-handed player, and obviously she uses both hands great, but her power go-to three-point move is a fadeaway going to her left. That's just when you're defending. I mean, Adam, back in my day, so many people, if they were right-handed, man, they were right-handed. Now you see way more going both directions, but most right-handers, were you more comfortable shooting a three, going a dribble to your right or to your left? I'm just curious.
Left, yeah.
You were more comfortable going to your left.
If you're right-handed and you're going right, your momentum is kind of carrying you, as you go to shoot and line up, it's carrying you further right. So for me, it was always tougher.
See, for me, it was just the opposite.
You can kind of put that natural fade to it, and as you're going left, you're still able to kind of focus in and. But she's got the step back move too. That's what makes it even more.
Yes, it's a step back. It's a step side and step back going to her left. It's incredible.
And it's indefensible.
It was weird when I played. I always felt I had not near as much power on my shot when I would take a dribble to the left, but I was almost all strictly right-handed too. That's why I couldn't play at the college. I could hardly use my left hand. And that's to me the biggest difference in youth basketball today as opposed to when I was growing up. I mean, you go to a lot of youth basketball stuff, Adam, your kids play. It seems like you're taught to use both hands a lot earlier now. In my day, if you were right-handed, you survived a lot of times on just being right-handed. How big is that emphasized in youth basketball now?
I mean, yeah, the left hand or offhand, whatever it is.
Offhand, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a young age, you got to be able to finish both ways. I mean, even with my young kids, I'm like, there is no, if you're left-hand side, you got to develop it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, the game has changed. I was telling somebody like a week ago, all these kids, they can shoot from deep. I mean, when you and I were in school, Pat, I don't even think in middle school a three-point shot counted.
Well, I'm going to really age myself, Adam. We didn't have the three-point shot when I was in high school. That's how old they brought it in the year after I graduated.
And when I was in high school, it was set shots.
They didn't have baskets. They weren't they just like the laundry baskets? Peach baskets. But no, I graduated in 82. 82, 83 was the year I believe they implemented the three-point shot in Iowa high school ball.
Yeah,
so, yeah, you're right.
Well, and even when they had it, like for me, it didn't count like in middle school. Like if I would have shot a 3-pointer,
mm-hmm.
which it was really kind of frowned upon, it's like percentage-wise, you're so much better off getting a mid-range jumper or something towards the basket. Now these kids, they can go both ways. They can shoot it, step back. They've got 3 points, and there's kids as young as third, fourth grade. I mean, it's nothing for them to shoot a 3-point shot, and so. The game has definitely changed, and you look at like what Caitlin's doing. I mean, you see what kids are trying to mimic, and it used to be. I mean, we always called it the heat check. I mean, if I'd have shot a deeper three a couple feet behind the 3-point line and it did not go in, I was going to hear about it. Now, high school, middle school, some of these kids are shooting 3, 4, 5 feet behind the 3-point line, and there's no even thinking about it. I mean, it's just they've got the range to do it, and watching somebody like Caitlin, these kids are figuring it out that, hey, I can do that too, and they're shooting those kind of shots and practicing from deep.
It seems like in my day basketball was played inside out. Now it's played outside in. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Exactly. There's not a lot of true post kids anymore. Like even in boys or it's kind of positionless basketball. A lot of 5-out cutter.
Mm-hmm.
You might have some taller post players, but a lot of them want to hang out on the perimeter and shoot threes and, one-on-one style, get to the rack. But there's not true centers anymore like when we were growing up.
I wanted to ask, of course, Fran McCaffrey, congratulations on becoming Iowa's all-time winningest men's basketball coach. I thought it was a pretty cool moment when he got emotional when he after on the post game with Steve. Yeah, and you could tell what it means to him and what Dr. Tom means to him. That's a worthy accomplishment. And Adam, I wanted to ask you, somebody brought up to me, and it might have been Rob Howe, said that the way Dick's played the other night in these last two games reminds him of you a little bit. Do you see any of that?
No, I think he's got some similar traits. I love his floor presence. I mean, he can do so much more than I think he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's just trying to figure out, how does he fit into this offense but I hear in practice he's one of the just hardly ever misses, knockdown shooter.
And you're starting to see it.
Yeah, and I think with that confidence, we need him to come in and make shots and, get to the basket. That mid-range game or pull-up game he's got, those are great shots.
Yeah.
And I think as this team's going to go, we're going to have him really step up. And, obviously with Patrick being sidelined, that's not good. But for somebody like, Josh Dix, it's an opportunity, and it's kind of a knock on the door saying, hey, I need some minutes offensively to help this team. So he can stroke it, he can shoot it, got really good handles, and he's kind of a calming presence out there. I would love to see him continue to get minutes and perform like he did yesterday.
And he's
a good defender,
He's
too.
a good defender. He's long, and he's 6'4", and I think he's more athletic. He can jump. The other thing I think it's important about his shooting is this is no knock on Bowen and Harding, but neither one right now are confident shooters. DeSante Bowen would rather get to the basket with 3 defenders standing in front of the net than take a 10-footer. He's just, you can tell, Adam, he's got no confidence in his shot right now, but he still defends well. He still can handle the ball and set up teammates, and he is good. I just wish he would learn to finish a little better at the basket. You've noticed he's really attacking the basket.
Yeah, no, we've said that all along. That's kind of been that's the first part of his offensive game is to get to the rack.
Yes.
Now he's just got to finish. And I think with this team, we've got enough scorers. You look at Cricky and you look at Perkins and Sanford and
Patrick.
And Patrick. We've got guys that can definitely score. So I'm okay with these other guys assuming, hey, I'm going to be more of a defender. I'll get to the basket. I can either dish or try to finish. But, like Brock Harty, he comes in 15 minutes and, had 5 assists. He's one of those that's kind of a true distributor as far as a point guard goes. He's looking to pass first. And, again, I think that's okay, especially a guy being a freshman. He definitely understands his role. He's not forcing anything. I think as guys kind of this second half of the season here assume kind of what the pecking order is and know what their role is, I think it's going to help this team, especially with the amount of guys that we can potentially play on a given night. I
like Harden and Bowen playing together, too, and that you've seen a little bit of that. What it seems like is Fran will give both those guys, they'll get their early substitution, and then who's ever playing better in that moment will become that option as the game progresses. But these guys all go in knowing they're going to get a chance. If Bowen's playing well, he's going to play. There's been games where Bowen sits for most of the second half, and then he plays the last 8 minutes because they need defense or they need something he can bring.
Yep.
So that keeps these guys engaged. But I think if Dix can keep playing like he does, and what I think reminds me of him of you is the mid-range game, the little 8-footers in the lane, where he slices through, takes 3 or 4 dribbles, rises up in the lane. You did a lot of that, if I remember correctly.
And part of our motion offense, we had some. A lot of our stuff could happen inside the three-point arc. Not everything was geared around trying to get a 3 or, had to be a drive to the basket.
Sure.
Like, we had some good sets and I appreciated that. I mean, I think that was one of the things when I came over from Iowa State that I really thrived in Alford's motion style, kind of pro set that flowed into motion. I didn't have to dribble a lot. I could come off a double screen or, come off a flare cut, and I could have an opportunity, one dribble pull up, and it, again, wasn't a three-point shot. So, yeah, I love the mid-range game. I'm even telling my own kids, like, that's where I think it's a lost art. And if some of these kids can find a knack for that, it's a great shot.
It really is.
Percentage-wise, it goes way up from having to take a deep 3, and you can take an 8, 10, 12-foot shot. Those are great buckets.
I mean, even the great Michael Jordan, he had all the dunks and he made his living mid-range. I mean, you remember him. I mean, the fadeaway, the turnaround jumpers from 12 and 14, that's where he scored so many of his points. And I think sometimes it gets lost in the dunk and three-point shooting phenomenon. You know what I mean? There's so much emphasis on both of those things. But no,
well,
I'm really...
And another part of the game, too, I was just talking to somebody the other day. I mean, you guys probably remember, you always use the backboard.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're going... Yeah, if you're going 1 or 2 dribble pull up and you want to kiss it off the glass, a lot of these kids don't anymore.
You're right,
and I don't know why, but I was always taught from a young age, like take a little bit of almost the error off of the if it's long or short, you have a little more margin of error when you use the backboard.
Yeah.
And these kids now just don't do a lot of that. But I think Josh Dix, you've seen some of the shots, and even Cricky. Those guys have a smooth, sweet shot. They'll use the backboard whenever they need to.
I'll give Frank credit. His portal addition, Cricky is a perfect fit for this offense. I mean, he's just – I mean, you just know you're going to get 15 to 20 almost every night. It's going to be efficient. He's going to play with poise. He's not going to force anything. he's been a great addition.
We got down 10-1 the other night, and he's the one who got a couple big hits.
10-1 and 14-3. They were down 14-3 too, and then boom, they came out.
14-3 with 16-0, right around the 16-minute mark, and it was not looking good.
No. Then Fran called a timeout, and it took a while. It didn't just happen immediately, but eventually I think they had a 7-0 run that swelled to a 13-2 scoring run. And then boom, once they pulled even again, I just felt they just looked like the better team. And I mean, Adam, Minnesota their 3-point shooting. At some point you got to be like, hey guys, maybe try to work them. They just seemed like they shot themselves out of that game in some ways.
Yeah, what were they, 5 of 29?
5 of 29. Really, in the first half, they were 1 of 14.
I was proud of our guys, too, and I think this is one of the reasons why. I mean, Josh Dix had an incredible game, and, again, some of the mid-range game stuff that we were talking about, and even Cricky, we didn't succumb to making it a three-point shootout.
You're right.
We did not shoot the ball particularly well. We were 3 of 13 from 3. But we didn't get into one of those shooting matches where, all right, now we got to keep firing. Because, again, 5 of 29 for Minnesota, and we settled in, and we're looking at, ended up being 53% from the field. We were just getting buckets inside the three-point arc. And if we can do that, again, on nights where we're not shooting it well, that's going to give us a chance to win. Kind of like how Wisconsin does it.
Yeah, I'm worried with Purdue that there's going to be this sense, well, Edie's in there. We're not going to do much in the paint. So if Iowa does a 5 of 28 or 29 from 3 against Purdue, we're not going to win. They're going to get both.
Yeah, we're cooked.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't take that many threes. But I sometimes wonder if Edie gives you this sense that you have to take threes because he's going to prevent you from doing stuff. It'll be interesting to see what Owen Freeman can do. I mean, maybe a couple head fakes. I've seen Edie get into some foul trouble this year, but they've got other big guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're a good team. I just think they're beatable, though. I don't think they are a great elite team right now.
Yeah, the way they started early off in the year, they looked unbeatable. But now, I mean, we're kind of seeing some kinks here. So, I think if we can get our perimeter shooting going, and it doesn't always necessarily mean threes, but if we can get some shots to fall and get some of these guys to really step up and put some pressure on them, in the games that they have not won, they've not shot particularly well. So defensively, we've got to make them uncomfortable. And I still think Edie's going to get his. I think any game you look at, even in the games that they've lost, he's going to get his, and he's going to rebound, and they're going to play hard. But we just got to worry about, again, locking in, and we're going to have to make shots. Making shots is going to beat this team.
Well, and Nebraska did that against Purdue, and they handled them. And then Nebraska turns around, comes into Iowa, and they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. You got to love basketball.
That's just the way it is.
It is.
I mean, it's a weird game that way. And back to the women, we were talking about the great win against Kansas State. How about the win against Iowa State? Look what Iowa State has done.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, are you surprised that the Iowa State women are? Did I look? Were they 5-0 in conference play at one point?
They still are, I think, and they just got into the top 25.
So what do you? I mean, are you surprised at how well they're playing? They're a pretty young team.
I am, and it's been interesting too. I'm always a fan of high school basketball, so I've always watched a lot of. They got local girls there, one of the Jones girls, and then you got the Audie Crooks. She's from Algona Garrigan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many years have we watched her in the state tournament just dominate? And the question always is, well, what's that going to look like in the Big 12? And she is just
looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. So it's fun to watch. I mean, again, high school Iowa talent that goes on and plays, for Iowa or Iowa State. I love watching that. So, yeah, Bill's got the girls over there playing really well. And again, it's looking at Iowa's schedule. Big Ten may not be, from a rating standpoint or ranking, where it has been in the past, but right now, I mean, we've played a really tough schedule and only have one loss, and the one loss we do have, we ended up beating them a couple weeks later. So I feel really good about this Iowa women's team, and I'm anxious to see how this kind of second half of the Big Ten goes.
And I don't think Indiana is as good as they were last year.
Well, they missed Grace Berger.
Yeah, and also, didn't they have that little feisty point guard, too? That was or am I getting them mixed up with a different team? I thought they had a
they had Allie Patberg, but that was a couple years ago, I think. Oh yeah, Cardozo Hillary.
Yeah, that was like she was real. She was tough. They're not the same as they were.
No, they're not.
And you can say the same about Iowa. They're not the same, but they seem to be adjusting better right now than Indiana is. And who's the other ranked team in the conference? Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I mean, they're to me. I would be more concerned about Ohio State than Indiana from Iowa because they seem to have some of the kind of players that can cause problems for, you know what I mean, long defenders and what have you. They're the only teams ranked right now in the conference, right?
I don't think Maryland's in the top 25.
But Maryland's still a solid team. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Michigan State and Michigan and those teams can play themselves in to the ranking. So, Adam, how would you defend Caitlin if you're a coach for an opposing team? Would you give her 40, let her take her 40 or score 50, and then shut down the other ones? What would your approach be?
I think I would try to get in her head a little bit.
Which makes sense.
A couple of these games, she doesn't. These girls get up into her, and I think about Creighton from a couple of years ago. Watching that game, I thought she kind of took herself out a little bit, just mentally, right?
I think that's fair.
Wanting some calls, and they were just getting up in her, and I'd put a fresh new body on her all the time, and just try to. I wouldn't say you're going to stop her, but from the time she gets the ball or she's running, I would just kind of have a face guard on her and have somebody else try to beat us. And again, I know she's going to get hers. But if you can kind of frustrate her or what game was that? It was a couple games ago. She kind of got into one of those weird little moods and airballed a couple shots and a couple things. That's, I think, what teams have to try to do. Mm-hmm. And she's so good, and she ended up coming right back and kind of hit the reset button and finished that game strong. But I think that's that's the only thing that can really stop her. You know, is if she can get into one of those kind of little funks, but she's much better, much more mature than when she first came in as a freshman. She's getting better with that, and again, opening the door for these other gals to step in and score. So she's so unselfish. I still think you just gotta try to make it miserable for her, but it may come back to bite you in the butt.
Her off shooting nights also are becoming fewer and far between. I mean, there's going to be some nights where even a great player she's going to have. There's been nights where Caitlin didn't make couldn't make threes.
Yeah,
but she seems to compensate better now than she used to. But yeah, I mean, she's the kind of player that if she goes 25, 5 and 5, people are, oh, what happened? That's how good she is right now. I mean, that's kind of where she is.
Our whole view of basketball is getting completely skewed with this.
With the numbers, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah,
and
only 5 assists. What's wrong?
And I still think, like I said, the fact if you stand next to her, you have to stand next to her to realize how tall she is. I mean, she's a legitimate 6 feet, and most of the guards that she plays against are shorter than her. I want to ask you, Adam, what if you were 6'1", let's say you grew to 6'1.5", had all your same skills, speed, where do you think you would have been? What do you think you would have done at 6'1.5", 6'1"? Fast as you think you would have pursued track?
Probably focused on track, yeah.
Okay.
But I may not have had the advantage, with the long legs if I was a little bit shorter.
But like I said, though, so much goes into building a star athlete, and a lot of it is your body. I mean, the fact that you grew to 6'5" was huge. That separated you from a lot of other players. You agree?
Yeah, and I think, again, there's a lot of really good talent. I mean, you can look at the Division III level, Division II level. Skill-wise, a lot of those players can play high Division
Sure.
I. They just might be an inch or two or 2 inches short, and that makes a big difference when you got to get a shot off, or you're going to go get a rebound, or you're defending, and you got a little more length. Part of it is just a little bit about genetics and what do you have, and she's a great build and has the height and the length
Everything,
and athleticism to really be a all-around player.
Adam, before we go, I had an interesting conversation a while back. I was talking to this person, old-time Iowa high school kind of historian, and he was talking to me about if he's doing research on there's so many great athletes. He was thinking more boys athletes who never ran track and field because it really, it wasn't a real popular sport years ago. And he's often wondered how many really fast athletes never ran track. Have you ever thought about that? I know that's kind of out there, but track and field, I mean, it wasn't a huge sport 60, 70 years. I mean, and it's grown a lot in the last 20, 30. Have you ever thought about all the great athletes that maybe never ran track and field?
Yeah, I mean, I even think of, even in the basketball world, some of these kids grow up, and especially those that don't live in Iowa, that they just focus on basketball alone, and you're like, man, what would that guy do on a track? Throw him in a 200 or a 400. But yeah, I mean, I've just always grown up in a track family. My dad coached track. I've loved track from the time I was a little kid. So I've always been under the impression of how could you not run? It's. And
that's interesting, and I think that's cool. I grew up in a family where track was the barrier between basketball and baseball season. It's what you did. Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, but also I think I grew up a little earlier than you. I think by the time you were in high school, track was bigger. I think Tim Dwight I think he helped popularize track. His emergence in the early 90s, I mean, I think that had a huge impact on high school track. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
Well, I've always said it did on me. I mean, I remember meeting him in the field house at Drake when I was a little kid. We had the credentials because my dad was a coach to be able to go back behind, and that was the first time I got to meet Tim and what he did on the track that weekend. And I have known what he did years past, but what he did to help City High win a state championship and all the events that he won. I mean, I sat there and was like, I wanted to be a track star. In basketball and baseball and everything else was.
Remember what grade you were in? Approximately, what grade you were in when you?
I think it was 3rd or 4th grade.
So were you taller than him then?
No.
Just joking, Tim, if you're listening.
But I've made that joke to him before, and maybe listeners have kind of heard me tell that story. He wrote me a little note, and it said, thanks for coming to watch, and he had thanks spelled with an X, and I still have that.
That's cool.
From the time I was a little kid, but you never know, and I always tell people, you don't know the impression that you're going to make on somebody, that's going to carry them for, the next 20 years or throughout their, young sports career. I mean, he was a big influence on me, and what he did at track, there was no question I was going to run track all the way through high school.
Well, you look at Michael Jordan again. I mean, you remember what do you think in his prime, had he had a year to what do you think he could have long jumped? If you gave him a year at age 22 to just work on what do you think he could have done?
It would have been impressive. I mean, I got to think he's at least 25, 26
That's what I was
right?
wondering if that's what because Adam, you've seen those takeoffs from the free. That's 15 feet just right there, right, with the basketball in his hand? And I don't think Michael Jordan ever ran track. I could be wrong. I don't recall him. When you look back to his early days, it was basketball and baseball. I don't recall reading much about track, but he also grew late too. I mean, he was one of those late. But no, I've often wondered, like Julius Erving, what would he do the long jump in his heyday? No, it is because I used to love the long jump as a kid. I used to follow it, but it seems like that's an event that is sort of kind of faded in memory ever since Bob Beeman's record.
I was just going to say, who beat his
Mike
record?
Powell. Mike Powell beat it with like a leap of almost 30 feet. Adam, you know what's happened with the long jump? It used to be a glamour event.
It used to be the deal, like Carl Lewis and
yes.
Powell and those guys. That was prime time. Like you would watch NBC or whenever they had those track meets to just focus in on when the long jump was going to happen. I don't know if it's just because guys weren't going. We've hit a lull where you're not having those records broke.
No.
But, I mean, what those guys did was, I mean, you go out there and have a measuring stick and just go 30 feet. It's crazy to think that somebody's leaping that far.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. And Bob Beeman, I mean,
That's 10 yards.
He did that at a time when nobody was even close to that record. Powell, I mean, and what's weird is Powell broke the record, but then he just kind of faded after. Carl Lewis was probably the most consistent, but he was always a sprinter too, though. He never focused exclusively on the long jump. But no, I've often wondered, that just seems like that's an event that has sort of lost its prestige. Because when I was a little kid, man, people used to love to watch the long jump.
Well, it used to be some of your most athletic guys,
yes.
Right? What can they do? Not just from the sprinting, but yeah, use that speed and have a little bit of spring in your step. I agree. It's always one of my favorites. I mean, I've got my kids are. I'm trying to teach them a little bit of how to do it, but it is it's pretty cool to watch.
Well, listen, we could go on forever, but we got to let him go back to the finance. What's going on? How's the stock market doing today?
It opened up down. Let's see where she's at now.
What's causing that?
Who knows?
We had a
if
good
anyone
year
does,
last
say
year.
it.
We were just everything's Nasdaq's down almost 1%. S&P's down just like 0.5%. So
nothing significant. Okay, just gotta
nope.
be patient. I hear that all the time. Well,
we
Adam,
do.
great stuff as usual. We'll try to do this again. I'll try to get you sometime next week on whatever fits your schedule, because now we're diving into basketball's going full blow now. And like I said, I think the men are. I'm really happy with the way that they've rebounded. I think they've given fans a reason to have some hope now.
Yeah, and again, I think some. It is when you see the crowds and stuff. Obviously, the women are getting a lot of the fans. And
sure.
There's only so many nights that people have open.
That's right.
And I think right now, a lot of people have committed to, hey, we're going to try to make a lot of these women's games because she may not be back next year. And again, they're a number 2 ranked team in the country, and kind of springboarding off of what happened last year. So, yeah, the men just got to keep focusing on doing what they can control. And, you win games like this. Hopefully, it brings a really good crowd on Saturday and get fans in the stands. And again, that's going to help propel them this next half of the Big Ten.
One more question, Adam. Have you gotten your cereal yet? Your Caitlin Clark Crunch Time.
You're going to laugh. So my mom actually today was like, hey, will you just stop by Hy-Vee? So I ran into Hy-Vee quick, and I did not see it. So I've been getting barking orders from my mom, my wife, my kids. It's like, hey, can you stop by Hy-Vee? They're not there.
Now it's just a matter of being lucky enough to have
I
it.
haven't been able to see them either.
No,
Amazing.
they sold out in the first day, and it's a limited, from what I understand, a limited run. So it may
Well, I
not
saw
come
one
back.
guy with 6 boxes.
Yeah.
Can't you have a limit on how many?
You should.
Well, they
I
did
thought it was 2.
after a while. They limited it to 2.
Yeah, this was a while ago. This was a couple. This guy right behind me had 6 boxes of the
Yeah.
stuff. So, well, good luck in that. You'll get one. It'll be there.
What's that?
You'll be there. You'll get it at some point, just like the teams.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm getting orders to go over there every day or every other day, I've got to get lucky at some point.
All right. Well, good luck with that. And Adam, great stuff as usual. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
Appreciate it. Yep. Have a good week, guys. We'll see ya.
You too.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
And we got to pay a bill or two here.
Yeah, let's take a break. You're listening to Hawkfanatic on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Your favorite place to eat in the Amana colonies can be your favorite place to work. The Ox Yoke Inn's 84-year reputation for quality extends beyond the food and service. The working environment, training, wages, and benefits are the best of any independently owned and operated restaurant in the area. Come and apply and have lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch on us. Is it worth the short drive from Cedar Rapids or Iowa City? I guarantee it. We're busy and we're searching for the best, and that means you. Apply today in person or online at oxyokeinn.com for those positions of cooks, pie and pastry bakers, waiters, waitresses, and bartenders. Apply today in person or online at oxyokeinn.com.
The Ox Yoke Inn.
GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit supples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
Once upon a time in the land of the Hawkeyes, a business grew. A business that would become synonymous with real estate. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson of Hawkeye Title and Settlement. When you're buying or selling your home, you'll need title and settlement services. Consider the Hawkeye Title and Settlement team. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
It's 2024 and Worthington, Minnesota continues to shine. We've expanded so many things. It's a time of growth. We've expanded recreation activities with our indoor ice arena, our indoor turf rec center and playground, and our outdoor water park, Waterworld, is ready for another season. Our schools have expanded, and so has our industry. We're continuing to expand our population also, with lots ready to build on Glenwood Heights. So let's grow together. In Worthington, Minnesota, it's worth a look.
Are you tired of living in a home that doesn't quite meet your needs? Then it's time to call the experts at Streets Maintenance. Their team of skilled professionals specializes in renovations and remodeling, transforming your home into the space you've always dreamed of. From kitchen bath remodels to complete home renovations, no job is too big or too small. Streets Maintenance will work with you every step of the way to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So don't wait any longer. Call Streets Maintenance to schedule your consultation at 400-4483. Let's start building your dream home today.
1-800-800-ROSE.
1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country.
1-800-800-ROSE.
It's so easy. Just remember one number, 1-800-800-ROSE, your FTD florist.
1-800-800-ROSE.
Remember,
check out the best source for your Iowa City area high school sports coverage. Go to yourprepsports.com. Hi, this is Pat Harty. City High, West High, Liberty High, Regina, West Branch, Solon, Clear Creek, Amana. Your Prep Sports has all the boys and girls high school sports you crave. You'll get free, in-depth reporting from dedicated sports journalists on your favorite teams: football, basketball, golf, volleyball, track, softball, and baseball seasons. Profiles, pictures, video, and more. Get in on the action. Go to yourprepsports.com today and spread the word.
Don't wait for an emergency to get a backup for your car keys. Unlike the olden days, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's eKeys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys that are on the market today. For spares and lost keys, Mike's eKeys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, high security, and remote head keys. Mike's eKeys for Cars will keep you on the road. Call 319-330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 319-330-9185 today.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers. Making memories, making moments.
Meteorologist Brittany Merlot. 'Tis the season to be freezing. However, we've made it through the worst of it as high temperatures today climb to the double digits. But with winds still at 10 miles per hour, it'll feel more like highs of 0 degrees. Welcome the cloudy skies because they act as a blanket, keeping us warmer. A shot of snow pushes in late tonight and lingers throughout tomorrow, putting down 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently, it's 6 degrees.
KCJJ weather. Brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply, kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
2 to 4 inches.
Oh, come on.
Another 4.
Why not? Throw it all at us.
Well, even 2's too. That's
Tough
more
enough.
shoveling.
Oh, man.
Showing our Iowa toughness.
That's more shoveling.
I'm not.
There's just no place to
I've had
put any more snow.
Well, I'm still feeling the effects of 5 days of shoveling.
Me too.
My elbows,
yeah.
my arms, my shoulders, everything. Yeah, I didn't realize it was 2 to 4. That's tomorrow?
That stinks, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to start like tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, and then the problem is Friday and Saturday are going to be cold as hell again.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, finally, we start to. I just want to get to next week, but I'm getting.
I know.
I'm getting too old to wish for days to just go away.
No, you're right.
All right, back to the Hawks.
Well, sure, nice to talk to Adam. I was going to add something in there when we were talking about bank shots and what a lost art that is. Ran into Stick Vidnovic a couple weeks ago.
Did he make a lot of bank shots?
Oh, he was an expert at them. And so I asked him, I said, that seems like you don't see it as often. It's kind of a lost art. So why were you so good at it? He said it came from playing outside. And he said, I had to get good at it because you have to get through the wind. You've got to get those angles down. He said, that's why.
Yeah, because, and then I was always taught you got the orange square, you got the square in the backboard, just aim the ball for that. I mean, if you hit that, if the ball hits at the right pace in that square, it's
going to go in.
It's usually going to go in, yeah. I mean, bank shots, once you do them enough, they're not that. I mean, the center, Audie Crooks, I mean, I'd say 90% of her baskets are bank shots.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really. Megan made a ton of bank shots.
She did.
And so does Caitlin. I mean, Caitlin, oftentimes it seems like when Caitlin knifes all the way through the basket, more than likely she's going to shoot a bank shot to finish as opposed to just shooting the ball over the, so, but yeah, no, it is a lost art, but Ben Cricky's really good at it. Ben Cricky he reminds me of a player from like the 80s in a lot of ways, and I mean that as a compliment. He's very fundamentally sound, doesn't force anything. And he's got a knack for getting open. He's really patient within the flow of the offense, and he's just been a nice fit. I'm just happy that the men's team, at 0-3, they could have fallen apart.
And it really felt like they might.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to go there yet, but a lot of people were.
I mean, I hadn't thrown in the towel, but I felt we've got to win.
And
was it Rutgers?
Yeah, they beat. I thought Rutgers has won one conference game. Rutgers might end up being one of the worst teams in the conference. I know they got great recruits coming in, but they're not helping now.
No, they're not there.
Rutgers can't score, but you play the teams on your schedule. And the team, I mean, they lost at Purdue and they lost at Wisconsin. Those were 2 of those 3 losses. The Michigan loss was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's the one bad loss. That's the one bad loss they have in conference play. But you're going to have a bad loss now. But the fact that they've rebounded, they're 3-3. They have a chance now, and they're back in. They matter again. They're back in the thick of things, and they could have easily been 1-5 at this stage. And if they were, when you imagine them being 1-5, let's say Rutgers was their only win going into this game, it would be bleak.
It would.
But they're not. And they've done this a lot with Fran. Just when you think they're about ready to unravel, boom, they find life.
And you feel, that we at least have a chance against Purdue. If we can make some shots, we got a shot.
Yeah, like I said, Purdue is not invincible by any means. I mean, Iowa State beat Houston. Houston was ranked number 2. I mean, and I know Iowa State beat Iowa. I think if Iowa State played Iowa at Carver now, I think Iowa wins at Carver. Now, if they go and play a rematch in Ames, I think Iowa State wins.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think. But I don't think Iowa State is just way. I think having home court advantage helps. But I think Iowa is starting to figure things out.
Yep. Yep, and that's a good thing. So I hope that everyone takes this opportunity to get out and support the men at
1 o'clock on a Saturday is
perfect time.
The weather's going to be cold, but it's not going to be minus 15. I think the high on Saturday is what, 2 or 3? I can't believe I'm using 2 and 3 degrees as a weather reason to come out. What's the high on Saturday, Hunter?
2 above.
Okay, well that's better than minus 11.
Yeah, but it gets like 13 below Friday night, 2 above Saturday. Mid-teens below 0 Saturday night, and then Sundays when it warms up, 20s, and then Monday mid-30s and Tuesday mid-30s.
Great.
So we will see some melting.
Yeah.
And mid-30s with sun, that will melt some of the snow.
Yeah, and slowly, which is good. You don't want it to...
No, you don't want it to go too fast.
Sink into the ground.
Okay, so just a few more days of this. Like I said, these this last week has just been... haven't done much.
It's been awful.
We've had so many good winters where it hasn't been brutal like this. Mm-hmm. And now
December was heaven.
Yeah.
It was hot on Christmas.
And January has been hell.
It was humid on Christmas. Wasn't it in the 50s on Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like 57?
Yeah, I drove to northern suburbs of Chicago, and I didn't even take a jacket with me.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember being humid on Christmas Day.
Crazy.
So,
it rained.
But I will say, whenever I go through these, I'm like, why do I still live here? But then next week, you're reminded why. Those 30s next week, I know those will be minor victories, and people in Florida will be laughing at. But those will feel good. You know what? They will feel good to at least 30's going to feel. I mean, it's going to feel a lot warmer than it really is.
There was another thing, going back to Adam for a second, where I was going to interject something, but I couldn't find an opening. But he was talking about when he was back and meeting Tim Dwight behind the scenes a little bit, and how Tim, sent him a note and stuff, and how it stayed with him and made him feel special as a kid. Mm-hmm. Well, my situation was a little different with Don Nelson. You may recall that story.
He signed an X, too.
He signed an X for my autograph.
Yeah, that was it.
And it has stuck with me. And it pissed me off.
He's dead now, though, isn't he? Is Don Nelson dead?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe he's not dead. No, you're right.
He's retired in Hawaii.
I know he's retired, living in Hawaii, smoking weed.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought he would pass, but
no,
it's worse than no autograph at all.
So I haven't forgotten.
Did you tell your dad what he did?
Yeah.
What'd your dad say?
He said, "Well, I can get his autograph for you if you want." I said, "Nope, don't want it."
How old were you?
8 maybe.
Should have kicked him in the shin.
Well, he was about 6'9". He would have killed me.
6'6". I think.
Was he?
Yeah, he wasn't that tall.
Well, I was little.
But no, that's unfortunate. I mean, but so you think Don Nelson's a dick?
Yes, I know he is.
He had a good NBA career.
Yes, he did.
No, he had a great career in basketball.
Great coach.
I guess that's unfortunate that he would do that. Were you alone? Or were you with other kids getting autographs?
No, I was alone. It was.
Did you get just his, or did some teammates sign too?
No, I was. Well, I kind of knocked out of the box after that one, so I didn't go for any others.
Oh, okay. Huh. I wonder if he did that to other kids.
I don't know, or just me. He was sitting with one of his teammates, and I think it was, just a kid being...
Was this before a game, or what?
No, it was a practice.
Okay.
And at the time, in the field house, they had kind of a canvas thing that surrounded the court.
So could anyone just walk in, or because you were Bud Suter's dad, that's why you were there? Or son, I should say.
No, I think the practices were pretty open, I think.
God,
I'm not positive.
Imagine just walking into Fran's practice. I mean, how different things are now. I mean, were Evie's football practices open to the public?
Yeah, because they, or this was Jerry Burns, I think, but there was a practice field right where, the Stead Family Hospital and all that is. And, yeah, I mean, I went to a lot of practices.
Interesting, because I know one of the first things Hayden did when he got hired was close practices.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking maybe the public was afraid to go to Evie's practices because they thought he would be mean to them. I say that as a joke.
Hello.
Hi, guys. For the basketball practice, we used to go up on the first balcony and look over the tarp they had up all around the basketball court and watch practice from up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew you were there and they didn't care.
Well, the field house was just, it wasn't a big deal back in the late 60s, early 70s.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Or early 60s either.
Okay. Well, it didn't stop the six-pack from going undefeated in conference play.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware of that. But like I said, I was in the field house I don't even know if I went to a game in the field house. I mean, I remember watching them on TV some, and I mean, that's where Ronnie Lester became Ronnie Lester. Ronnie Lester never played at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy when you think about that. I mean, he was done 3 years before the arena was built, and I've had some people say the field house, obviously, they needed a new arena. I mean, but there was some ambiance that was lost from the field house, and I don't think they did it.
No question.
And I don't think they did a good job of duplicating it with the build. Carver Hawkeye Arena, I mean, I don't know how it was perceived at the time it was being built and when it was launched, but like I said, and I am no expert on architecture or anything. First time I walked into it, I'm like, man, this is a weird setup. The best seats.
Size mattered at the time, and they were building big arenas.
Oh, I know.
At that time.
But what I didn't understand, and I've said this before, I just didn't understand that the best courtside seats, unless you were going to be part of one elevator ride up, it's the worst way of getting out of the arena.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a courtside seat and then have to climb up those stairs, that's a monster for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That's a lot for a lot of people. Or your other option is to take the one elevator that goes up. And you've seen that. That's the Bataan Death March after games. People squeezing through there. That was when I walked in, I'm like, why? Well, obviously the answer would have been a middle mezzanine, but, I mean, they didn't do that because of money, right?
Right. That's, as I understand it, yeah.
Yeah, because that would have made the project way more. How much was Carver? Was it $80 million?
I'm not sure. That
maybe
sounds
I'm way
a little high.
Maybe it was $20 million, which 40 years ago, $20 million was a lot of money, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think in my head, it was like 35 or 40
million,
million, but I don't know.
I just never was enamored with the arena when I walked in.
No.
It just never really did it for me.
And now that you mention, I don't think I have ever had a courtside seat.
Would you want one? I wouldn't want one.
I'd like to see what it's like.
But then you'd take the elevator. Would you take
I would run up those stairs.
All right, Ann, good luck. Let's go. You go. But I'm just saying, to a lot of people, especially the older you get, those stairs are a bitch.
Yeah, I was really close for a women's game. I was down in the corner on the second row, on the aisle. But it's not courtside, but it was.
And you didn't take the elevator?
You were in one of the black seats?
Yeah.
Okay, I've had that once, and they were just fantastic seats.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
They were comfortable.
Yeah, but let's say you want to go to the restroom
you're screwed.
I mean, you want to go to the restroom and you want to go to the concession stand a couple times. I mean, I guess you're getting your exercise in, but 3 flights up and down those steps, if you're that low, that's a workout for a lot of people.
It is.
Yeah, when I got down there, I stayed down there.
Our women's seats are, I think, row 17.
So you've got a little bit of a hike up to the concourse.
Yeah. And our men's seats, I think, are 29.
Yeah, it's just like I said. When I walked in, I was sort of underwhelmed by it.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you guys this morning?
Doing okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I helped do fundraising as a volunteer for the Foundation for Carver Hawkeye Project.
Uh-huh.
And the cost was just shy of $20 million.
Okay.
It was between $15 and $20 million. And I believe some of that cost also covered renovation of the field house so that they took off the armory and on the west end and other changes that they made there with like racquetball courts and things like that.
Okay.
So not even $20 million then.
That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. And it was something. I'll say that. And then you were talking about the construction itself. The original plans called for a mezzanine.
In the middle.
Middle, yeah.
Yeah. It's very much like the McHale Center at Arizona.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was basically ditched to save money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. It's just too bad. I mean, there were some, because they had the money. It was a very successful fundraising venture. You know, it was $2,500 would get you guarantee you a seat, and you know, it was one of those where they sold a lot of $2,500 seats to patrons, and other people didn't quite give that, but you know, they still got in. But if you didn't give a significant amount of money as a non-faculty or staff person, you weren't going to get a ticket.
So what would the middle mezzanine have cost?
Yeah, that's my question.
What would that have cost, do you think? Would that have made it a $35 million project?
I think it would have been something on the line of $25 million, maybe.
Okay.
Jeez.
Wow. Looking back, I know we've got hindsight, but I think they blew it.
What a shame.
I think they blew it.
Yeah, it is, you know, because there would have been restrooms on that level.
Exactly.
There would have been concession on that level and all that. And I think when they dug out the bowl over there at its site, you know, it was one of those where, well, if we just pour it and don't include a mezzanine level in there, things will, we can save some money. Well, God.
Who made the call to say, okay, we're not doing a mezzanine?
I think, among others, well, it would have been Bump.
Yeah.
And Christine Grant, obviously, would have had a say in it. Bill Barnes, the dean of the business college, was spearheading that project because I knew Bill pretty well. And I'm sure and as a business professor, he would know money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure there were some other folks involved. But it's just too bad that they did not have better foresight, because they did not put air conditioning in it.
Nor did they put an elevator in it to begin with, did they? The one
no, there was an elevator.
Just the one that people flock to.
Right.
But a lot of the arenas I go to have multiple elevators.
Yeah, they do. They do nowadays.
No, they only had one. I don't know what they had, you know, what they may have cut out, but I do know they cut out that mezzanine level as a cost-saving effort.
So structurally, is it impossible to go now and tunnel out a mezzanine level?
I've done a story on that, and I'll let our caller answer.
Great.
I've been told, no, it's not impossible, but it would be so expensive now. Caller, what are your thoughts?
Exactly. To retrofit it.
Yeah.
Be millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. Probably
tens of millions.
They missed their opportunity back when they were, and the thing they had going back then, as you know, caller, fans were high on basketball. They were fresh off a Final Four, 81, 82. Lute was at a zenith. They were making the tournament every year. There was a ton of motivation and enthusiasm for men's basketball.
The program was great.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it was. Frankly, I think they could have made it. It was 15-5 roughly. As far as seating.
Yes.
They could have made that thing 17. And it's really too bad that they didn't, because I think at that time, and for quite a while after that, we could have hosted, you know, like when we did it at the Fieldhouse back in the mid-'60s. I think it was 66 that we hosted the Mid-East Regional. It was Michigan with Cassie Russell and Kentucky with Louis Dampier and all, and Clem Haskins, Western Kentucky, and Dayton had a 7-footer, Henry Finkel, who played for the Celtics.
Was that like late 50s?
No, that would have been the mid-60s.
That was 66. That was 1966.
Yeah.
Would have been the last time Iowa hosted a regional.
Okay, because I was at that.
That was Michigan, Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Dayton.
Okay.
I went to the game.
I did too.
I was 11 years old, going on 12, and my dad took me to that.
Okay.
So I would have been 13.
I would have been 2.
Yeah. But you were just a babe in arms, Pat. But anyway.
You were still soiling your diaper, friend.
Yeah. If
I think I probably was.
If the arena had been expanded to, say, 17 to 18,000, we would have qualified by NCAA standards back in the 80s and beyond for hosting regionals, or at least when they expanded the tournament, the early round.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, this is fascinating. Interesting looking back at the
Henry Finkel. I haven't thought of that name.
And I don't remember. I only remember him
decades.
from being a backup center for the Celtics back in their '70s playoff runs.
Yep.
Big Henry Finkel. But yeah, Louis Damper, and was Dan Issel part of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Issel, and I'm not sure, was Pat Riley?
Pat Riley. I don't know if that was after his time, but it would have been near about when he played.
How about Cotton Nash? Was he on that?
That I said. That
I
don't
can't remember that. I just remember it was Bill Bunton and Cassie Russell.
Bill Bunton, yeah.
And, you know, that thing always there was Cassie wanted to be a Hawkeye because Jerry Jones, his teammate from Chicago Carver High School, came to Iowa.
Him.
Oh, God.
He was
great.
one of my favorite Hawkeyes ever.
So what happened? Why didn't he become a Hawkeye?
He couldn't qualify for the entrance exam, but he got in under Michigan's special admissions program.
Okay.
They have a special admissions program at Michigan, have had it for years, and still have it, I believe. And ironically, the vast majority of those special admittees happen to be exceptional student athletes.
Interesting.
And that,
Interesting.
That
Not surprising.
That Michigan team was one of my favorite Michigan teams ever, and they used to stay out at the Congress Inn, which is now.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to rub shoulders with them. And
Johnny Orr wasn't the coach then, was he?
No.
No.
And I got to Cassie Russell put me on his shoulders and carried me around.
I remember
for
you
a while.
saying that.
Oh, God. I think it was Dave Stack.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. Wow.
Was Michigan coach back then.
Okay.
Orr came after that. He had coached up at Dubuque Senior.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So, but, no, this stuff with the arena though, it is fascinating. Like just a blown opportunity. I think
That's too bad.
It's too bad because I think the arena would look so different if it had that middle mezzanine.
Right. Well, you know, we hosted a national AAU basketball tournament back in the, I'm trying to think, late 80s, early 90s. That I was involved with organization of that and all. And, man, we used the arena. We used Regina. We used West High. I can't remember if we used City High gyms, too. But it was amazing. But, you know, the high school gyms were better climate-wise during the summer for the teams than Carver was. Now, we had a pretty big crowd at Carver for the finals and, you know, the late round games.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that was quite the experience to see those kids.
Okay. I got to ask, do you think there was anybody when this arena was being designed that said, hey, I got a problem. The people with the best seats, look what they have to do to go up and down. Do you think that was ever brought up, and how was it rationalized? How was it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. To me, it's a no-brainer because, you know, it's not like you can walk out at ground level from the bottom. You know, you'd go back to the loading dock area.
Yeah, and see,
so,
I noticed that right away, and
I'm
I'm an idiot. I mean, I don't really notice stuff, but I noticed it right away. My God, the best seats have the worst when it comes to concession access, bathroom access. It just didn't make any sense. And 40 years, it still doesn't.
Right, and the student section originally was at the north end of the arena, the home team end basket, and, you know, you kind of think, well, it's nice, but it made more sense to move them to the south, where you're having a bigger impact on the visiting team.
Exactly. The Hawk's Nest with Alfred, wasn't that behind the Iowa bench?
It ended up in the south.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, to me, you have to have the
Behind
students
the
as close to the visiting team as you can to be a distraction.
Right, and especially in the second half of a game, if it's close, if you're trying to, you know, bother them shooting free throws or whatever.
Well, you know, Beth has brought up
the Bump did not want the students near the court.
Yeah, and
that's too bad.
I respect Bump, and he was great in a lot of ways, but I think he made a mistake there. And now Beth she's indicated that they're looking into it, and I think they could set up bleachers and they could move the student. It wouldn't be a multi-million-dollar expense. It would take some configuration, some
they
adjustments.
had some bleachers there,
and some donors would be impacted some. But I think they could get it done, and I think they need to get it done.
Well, they do.
See, I would like to see behind the north basket, take out some of those seats and have a little food court there or something.
Oh, that makes good sense.
Yeah, I wonder if it would be feasible.
I have no idea.
There's a lot of wasted space behind both.
Yep.
A lot of wasted space behind both baskets, if you ask me.
Right. Well, they had it so that those seats were movable. That they would fold back in to the sides to make more room for events where they needed a bigger floor for events either non-athletic or something like a NCAA wrestling, whatnot, where you need more floor space to put mats down.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, and I just thought of this, is there some reason they can't have vendors down at that level? I mean, like they used to back in the 60s with Leo Weichel would have his...
Oh, God, yes.
Do they even have vendors? I remember covering Iowa games in the 90s.
I remember Leo.
Yeah. They had vendors in the 90s.
So why can't they do that to serve the...
I have no idea.
I haven't looked. I'm sure we've written about that. I remember at the Press Citizen when they ended the vendor, I remember writing something, but I just don't remember the specifics of it. But I remember guys used to come down with, they'd have a case full of Coke, 20-ounce Cokes or whatever. But no, they don't do that anymore.
And now they could have beer.
There's a reason. I'm sure there's got to be a reason.
Heaven forbid.
Well, all right. Well, no, this has been a fascinating call. A lot of good stuff. I appreciate you kind of filling in the blanks as far as the history of Carver.
That's great.
And the blow-on opportunity. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, it's just a shame because, like I say, the money, they could have gotten the money.
Oh, I'm sure they could have. And it would have been a lot cheaper than trying to do it now.
Yeah, I want to say that they raised between $12 and $15 million, and that the balance for the entire project for Fieldhouse and the arena, Fieldhouse renovations and the construction of the arena was, I think, Carver's gift was around $5 million, maybe.
Wow.
And he could write a bigger check. And hell, there were other big boosters who could have kicked in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
$1 million or $2 million or whatever, and it would have funded it.
And it would cost 20 times that to build the arena now, wouldn't it?
Well, to build a middle mezzanine,
or just to build a new arena.
New arena would cost.
I just looked it up, and it gave the construction cost $18.4 million. Wow. And let me get what it present dollar value in 2022 dollars, $65.4 million.
So that's...
you're talking more than 3 times the original cost to build the thing.
Wow.
So an additional $40 million.
Now.
Huh. So, yeah, they should have did it. It just doesn't make sense, but there's really nothing you can do about it now.
That's too bad.
But, hey, appreciate the call.
Yeah, great call.
Great call.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys take care.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because a middle mezzanine would have changed everything about that arena.
Yeah. Hunter was dealing with the Culligan water guy.
Yeah, trying to make sure he doesn't give us so many. We got plenty.
Yeah.
With like 4 on the ground and 1 in the tank. We had 6. That was a little too much.
Hey, Culligan.
They're great.
Hey, Culligan, man.
They still have those commercials out?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean,
I grew up with those commercials.
I did too. The animated girl. Hey, Culligan, man.
And it's too bad because those were such great, iconic.
They worked.
They worked.
Yeah,
I still do because you remember.
I just brought it up. That's something I remember.
Yeah.
Commercial-wise, that and Where's the Beef?
And they've resurrected Mr. Clean, realized what they had.
Yeah.
The Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Another thing I remember is Burger King, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders, don't upset us.
Yep.
All we ask is that you let us have it your way. I mean, I remember that. That was so, I've got it memorized 50 years later, or 40 years later.
Yes, exactly.
Special sauce, lettuce, cheese,
yes.
pickles, onions on a sesame seed.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Hello.
Yeah, what about, have they thought about an escalator, like maybe 4 escalators around Carver?
You mean instead of the steps, fill some steps up with a couple escalators?
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't thought about that.
I hadn't either.
That's got to be.
It seems like escalators don't work very well.
And are dangerous. My guess is the insurance would be outrageous.
Yeah, probably.
But no, it's a thought.
That's an interesting idea.
An interesting thought. I'm just guessing, though, the insurance would be outrageous.
Yeah.
Zip lines. That'd be cool.
Zip lines, yeah.
Get down to your seats fast.
But I think the other odd thing is that they only did. Why not put another elevator in somewhere when they originally designed it? Why just one elevator?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if somebody started kicking around some different ideas. And
Well, I think people are. I just think so many of them are so expensive, they can't do them. I mean, but we'll see. I don't think there'll ever be a middle mezzanine.
Well,
built
I mean, Beth said that they did a feasibility study and that there's going to be some changes.
But not a middle mezzanine.
I don't think so.
No, they're not going that extreme. Yeah, there's going to be some changes, and I think they're thinking about the student section, but I don't think it's going to be $75 million changes.
No, and the other
million.
thing she says is all got to be private funding.
Yes. Yeah, because, so. But escalator, that's interesting.
That last caller was fantastic.
No, he was good.
Fantastic.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. First-hand information.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I just think insurance, though, for an escalator, because you got a lot of elderly people that would be taking it. That, to me, that would be a little high risk.
Well, that's probably I'd never thought of escalators.
I hadn't either.
Also, but think about it. I mean, escalators always seem to be broken.
They do. I mean, it's funny you say that.
Always.
When I covered the Rose Bowl back in 2015, the media hotel we stayed at, the escalator that took you from the main concourse when you walk in the hotel up to one level was broke the whole time we were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe I missed it earlier on the show, but we had an Iowa legend pass away yesterday.
Jerry Hilgenberg, yes.
Oh, thanks for
reminding us.
that
Yeah, I appreciate your reminding us because I may have forgotten that. Yeah,
I think
Tom,
92 years old.
You know more about.
He was the Hilgenberg family. They lived on Crestview, 3 doors down from us on the other side of the street.
So this was Jerry and his kids, right?
And his kids,
which
and
would
his
be
wife. Jay and Jim.
Right there on Crestview, right off of Court Street?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I can show you where Jerry Burns lived. He lived 2 doors down from us on the same side of the street.
So what was the attraction to Crestview? Or was it just a coincidence?
Well, we were one of the first houses there because, right behind us, it was nothing but fields.
What about where my home is? What was that when you?
Nothing.
That was just fields?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. But no, thanks for reminding me.
Well, not nothing. I mean, it was farmland.
Hey, and you know the story about Jerry. He only played 1 year of high school football.
I did not realize that. Why is that?
Okay, because in World War II, they suspended at least the football program, and he played senior year as running back, and he became Iowa's first All-American.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, what a great family. I mean, so was Wally Jerry's brother?
Yes.
Because Wally was the one who played for the Vikings, right? I remember Wally Hilgenberg as a linebacker for the Vikings.
Yes, and he was announcer for Iowa as well.
So was he Jerry's older or younger brother?
Younger, I believe.
Younger? Okay. But yeah, 92 years old. I mean, he lived a good life. Same age as my parents when they passed.
Yep, and played sandlot football with some of the Hilgenberg kids. Needless to say, they got a lot bigger and stronger than I did.
Yeah, I mean, Jay played wasn't he the center for the Bears?
Yeah.
No, great family, great legacy, and thanks for the call.
I got one more story about Wally.
Yeah, go.
Okay. Got drafted by the Lions, played with them 4 years, and got cut. And, I want to get my pensions. I got to get on with the team at least 1 more year. Well, 1 more year turned into about 10 and 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, incredible story. Really is.
So, yeah. Wally Hilgenberg was a great linebacker for Iowa.
Mike
Riley.
I hated the Vikings growing up because I was a Bears fan, and the Vikings always seemed to have the better of the Bears growing up. So, but no, great story, great family.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the call.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was thinking. I know Wally or Jerry was a little bit those great teams from the mid to late 50s. Most of those players are gone now, and I mean, Willie Fleming is still alive, but most of those players are either gone or it's like I said, that's a part of Hawkeye football that is so rich. But yeah, it's just sad when not many of them are around anymore.
Actually, they were a little farther. They're right at the corner of
Friendship,
Elm Ridge, and Crestview.
Okay, but doesn't Crestview stretch from Court to Friendship?
Almost. It goes down to upland, and then there's just a few houses.
Oh, that's right. Crestview's not a straight.
It
okay,
curves.
That's right. It curves. Okay, all right.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey. Old Mayor John here.
Oh, hey, John.
Hey, I was just going to tell you, there will be a second elevator to the floor of the Carver Hawkeye. It's being built into the wrestling facility. So
okay.
Where the tunnel is now, that's not open yet, on the south end where the band is, that'll be a secondary access point, and there'll be an elevator.
Oh, that'll make a huge difference.
Oh, that's great.
That'll make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's great.
Curious, will there be like a restroom in the tunnel? Like restrooms?
That's a great question. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
I've seen mock-ups, and I believe that there are, yes.
That'll make a huge difference. Yeah. Okay, thanks you. Boy, we're learning a lot today.
Thank you, Mayor Woodchuck.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome, Tom.
We're being educated and informed by our
Yes,
colleagues.
this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so next, I know there's a lot of you guys listening that go to Woodcraft, okay, which is where Mayor John is a part-time employee there. But next time you see John, just call him Mayor Woodchuck, and that'll be fun. Then he turns into a woodchuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's got a hell of a setup in his house. All woodworking stuff. He does.
Oh, he's amazing.
He does really good work.
Oh, my
Actually,
God.
the CD shelf that we have over here on this counter, he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's very skilled.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had half the.
Oh, I
the
don't.
stuff.
I can't pound a nail straight.
I love doing that stuff, and my dad used to have a workshop.
And were you good at it?
I was pretty good. I impressed my daughter because I bought a couple of big pieces of wood, and she came by the next day, and I had made a bookshelf out of it, and she couldn't believe it.
Back in wood shop, you had to build birdhouses.
Yeah.
And my birdhouse, some of the sides were so poorly done that the birds could come in through the sides.
So not kind of drafty, huh?
Real drafty.
Hello.
Hey, I can't outdo those guys on history, but I can infill a little bit earlier stuff.
Sure.
Along Melrose Avenue, when the football played outside or practiced, they put a big canvas up on the cyclone fence. And of course, there was no Hawkins Drive. It wasn't Hawkins Drive, but so that's how they, protected it, so to speak, from people watching.
Yeah, well, I was there a lot.
Yeah, well, you lived across the street eventually, didn't you?
Eventually, but not at that time. We would have
right.
been
Well, anyway,
Crestview.
And regarding Carver Hawkeye, here's more history. So in 1966, I was in flight school getting ready to go to Vietnam. And we used to, there was a big grapevine in that ravine where Carver Hawkeye is.
Mm-hmm.
So you could swing way out into that ravine. The thing was real thick. So they made the hole deeper, but it was a steep hill.
Yeah, I absolutely remember that. Yeah, I don't remember the grapevine though.
Well, maybe it was gone, but
so that doesn't sound dangerous.
Well, you're bulletproof when you're that age,
for sure, and I'll bet it was great fun.
Oh yeah, you could because it was I saw a big oak tree back in there, and then you could swing way out. You didn't want to drop off. I know that. So.
That's great.
But nobody I knew ever did. So
yeah,
you're bulletproof anyway. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, anyway, and by the way, it's and you'll love this. It's going to be 55 or 60 here in Mason today. So.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, just put a dash in front of that, and you'll know what we're going
55
through.
in Arizona is kind of cold.
It is kind of.
It was 10 in Dallas the other day. I saw my nephew tweet 10 degrees in Dallas the other day.
Well, the funny part is that that people that live here a lot longer than I have, which there's a lot of those, but they dress. When it gets down in the 40s, you think they're in below zero weather. It's really funny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you laugh at them in your short sleeve shirt?
Yeah, not quite, but I laugh at them. What the hell? Are you going skiing or what? So. And then a freeze warning here. That's the best one. It's going to go down to 31.
Wow, that is cold.
It is. Yeah. This we've been here 4 years, and this is the coldest winter, but it's only gotten down to 30. So.
Well, that sounds like heaven.
And we're looking forward to getting up to 30 here in another 4 or 5 days.
Well, yeah, I was listening, and I remember that my son still lives in Marion, so we joke about it, and I said, when it gets up to, and you guys are already commenting, when it gets up to 5 degrees, wow, this is really nice.
You feel the difference.
Yeah, you can feel the difference.
Especially if there's no wind.
And then when it gets to 30 in a few days, you won't need your coat anymore.
I'll probably barbecue.
Well, I've got 2 feet of snow on top of my.
Well, I did my deck.
So.
I did my deck one time, but then it snowed another 8 inches. I still have a lot to do, but at some point I'm going to get out.
We didn't get our crap together to bring my cooker in.
I didn't either. My grill's covered. So, well, enjoy your Arizona weather.
Enjoy your 55.
Well, we do. Anyway, we love the show. That Adam's input in the basketball.
No, he does a good job.
Amazing.
He's terrific.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
thanks.
When I got more history, I'll tell you.
Okay. Anytime.
Line's always open.
Anytime.
Bye.
It's been a fun show.
Call in the summer when it's 130 out there.
So what's better? What can you bear more? 101 with a 70% dew point, or what we had? What would you prefer to have to deal with?
Probably 100.
I think I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'm better in the heat.
Because in 101, you could go out and sit out on your as miserable, but you're not going to. Now
you're not going to die.
Yeah, frostbite.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. I mean, I hate humidity. I hate hot weather, but nothing's worse than minus 15 with. I mean, you can't do anything.
I mean, as long as you bundle up, you can.
And it's easier to air condition a house than heat a house, I think.
Yes, I think so too.
It's just, for me, it is. I've had my house at 64, and I know you guys will probably find that really cold, and there's been a few times where I've been chilly, but at 64, even the heat's been going on every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to keep it at 64. If I had it at 68, it'd be running nonstop.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to conserve a little bit, but yeah, but no, I did see my nephew tweet it. He lives in Frisco, right outside of Dallas. He tweeted that it was 10 degrees there the other day.
Patience. Yeah, I keep mine at 60 when I'm not there, and I've come in and it's running, so I know that it's really, really cold outside. Normally, it's cold when I come in, but I can warm it up in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't take me long. My house, too, same way I can.
We have it in our bedroom, 60, 62 to sleep in.
That's great. I mean,
Well, you provide your own heat, don't you?
Yeah. You bet.
It just makes you pile the covers on, and you're just it's the best. I'm right there with you. Hello.
Hey, Jim. How about those Packers?
How about them Packers? Went from. It's nice to be nominated and squeeze into the wild card. Wow.
I was actually cheering for Green Bay because I can't stand Dallas.
No, I hate Dallas.
I've never liked Dallas. I'm not a Green Bay fan either, but I like Jordan Love and anything that makes Aaron Rodgers look worse.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's on the Jordan Love train.
Where did Jordan Love play college ball?
Utah, I believe. And Aaron Rodgers is such a dick.
Yeah.
Well,
they're playing Saturday night against the 49ers, and I don't give them much of a chance. But
go Niners!
Let's see what happens.
Nobody gave them a chance against Dallas.
No, you're right about that.
Exactly the way I'm saying.
You're right about that.
Another game.
Just a reminder: the last time that we went in as the lowest seed, we played in the Super Bowl that year.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, Jordan Love is pretty good.
And now it's 2 more games that we're playing than the Bears this year.
Which is nice. You guys were talking about Carver. One thing I don't get about Carver is why they don't host more events outside of sporting events. It's a great venue with the sound in there when you go to see a concert, the sound is good.
Yeah, they used to do concerts.
I don't know why. I wish I did.
Somebody said there was a concert there, and there was some damage to the seats.
I do remember that. I remember that, yeah.
I think Tommy.
But the same stuff exists for concert goers. You get the best seats in the front row. You want to go get a beer, you got to hike up the steps.
Yeah.
It's the same challenge. But I get what you're saying. Have you ever seen a concert at Carver? I never have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
But there hasn't been a concert at Carver for years, has there?
No. I took my daughters to see the Backstreet
I
Boys.
do remember, though, some damage being done. I remember, I didn't write it, but at the Press Citizen, I remember somebody writing a story about they were going to have to consider things moving forward, and obviously it looks like they did.
The concert was 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, and the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow.
And what happened?
Just people wrecked the place. They tried to make assigned seating, which for that was not going to work.
That's not going to work.
They put folding chairs on the floor, and people just grabbed them and threw them up against the bleachers and broke the bleachers and stuff. And Alford
just being a-holes.
Alford basically said there will be no more concerts while I'm the coach, and then they just never did them again.
Okay.
So there you go.
What was it?
Didn't the Red Hot Chili Peppers play down there once too?
Red Hot
Seems
Chili
to me
Peppers.
that was another one of the shows.
Play down there?
Chili Peppers have been there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw Paul Simon. That was a good show.
I never went to a concert at Carver.
You guys were talking about security and that. Not long after it opened, a buddy of mine and I, we may have had a couple of adult beverages and snuck into Carver and went down and tried to shoot on the floor because there was a couple of basketballs there. This is a long time ago. This is 40 years.
Okay.
And we went down. I don't know to this day how people make baskets down there because I could never get the depth perception trying to shoot into those baskets with nothing on the backside to give you a frame of reference. But, yeah, we got to go down and we shot a few baskets until the women's team was coming out to practice. But anyway, that's my Carver story.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thanks.
See ya.
All right, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
But no, I give Green Bay a chance against San Francisco. I mean, I think San Francisco's probably going to win, but yeah, I watched that Dallas. I was actually looking forward to that game. I just have never liked Dallas.
No.
And
Brother Billy was a big Cowboys fan.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was impressive though by Green Bay. I like their coach is what's his name, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah,
he's a good coach.
Yeah, they need to get a new defensive coordinator though because their secondary.
Maybe they're the reason Phil Parker's got 1.9. The Packers won.
It could be. Hello.
Hey, you forget the worst concert at Carver ever, and that was Guns N' Roses. Axl Rose was so junked out he didn't even. They had a couch on the stage, and he didn't even get off the couch.
Serious?
It was the worst. Oh yeah, I took my now wife. We were dating then, and she always brings it up how it was the worst concert she'd ever been to, and I have to agree.
Wow.
There you go.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
Yep.
Oh, hey, remind people to dig out. You know, some people have their furnace vents that go out the side of the house there, and with these drifts, make sure that they got those dug out. You know.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
mine luckily is right by my driveway, and I always that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up.
And their dryer vents. You know, make sure that those things are all on. Not drifted in. Thanks, guys. I like your show.
Hey, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, the dryer vents, and then, of course, the thing up on the roof. I was worried that the snow was, that's where all the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily it never got up to where it covered that and what have you. But, yeah, that's always stuff you got to take care of.
You know how the bricks are in front of our door? It was frozen, but it pulled away, and it looked like an ice fence. In exactly the same, in all the grooves of where the bricks are.
Yeah.
And I came in this morning. It was just so cool.
Oh.
I'm trying to think if I have a furnace vent on the side of the thing I have is on my roof. You know what I'm talking about?
Mine are all on the side. We have something up on the roof.
I'm trying to think of where. I'll have to check. But I know my furnace. I know my dryer and furnace. I dug those out. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you got to be cognizant of all this stuff.
Yep.
So I know women's wrestling has a. We'll talk about it Friday. I know they're hosting something.
Yeah, duels.
They're hosting duels. We'll talk a little bit about that on Friday. I've got a couple calls out to try to get some guests on. I don't want to say anything until I've heard back yet. I wouldn't mind getting Rick Heller on to talk about. I mean, Iowa's ranked 20th.
Ranked, yeah.
They're ranked. They're the only Big Ten team ranked. It's been a long time since Iowa has been this highly thought of going into a season. So I'll keep you guys posted.
When they start their season, only about 5 weeks from now?
No, that's coming fast.
Which is ridiculous to think.
Early, about February 8th or 9th is usually about the first game. So about a month from now. So that's coming. So, well, everybody, thanks for the calls. Thanks again, Adam Haluska. Great stuff as usual. And we'll be back on Friday.
Okay, Hawkfanatic.com. Check it out. It's free. Molly Suter is next.
Craving snacks? Need groceries? Want ice cream delivered in 30 minutes or less? GoPuff delivers the essentials and more right to your door. From your favorite snacks and drinks to cleaning supplies and over-the-counter medicine, GoPuff has everything you need. Order through the GoPuff app and get your order delivered for as low as $3.95. Or join the GoPuff fam for unlimited free delivery on eligible orders. Skip the trip to the store and download the GoPuff app today. GoPuff, your convenience store delivered.
There's a problem here in eastern Iowa. There's not enough Hawkeye fans. I mean, really, shouldn't everybody be a Hawkeye fan? Well, maybe not, but you should be a fan of my team at Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson, and my team of experts at Hawkeye Title and Settlement know what they're doing. Call us at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
Do you have an important event coming up that requires fantastic food and an experienced caterer? Look no further than the Bread Garden Market in Iowa City. The Bread Garden is now taking orders for weddings, reunions, and all events where an experienced caterer is needed. It's always party time at the Bread Garden Market in beautiful downtown Iowa City. If it's time for expert catering services, call the Bread Garden Market at 319-354-4246.
Check out the best source for your Iowa City area high school sports